Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have a very scary video for you guys today. We are going to be talking about homelessness and we are going to focus in LA because it seems like LA is the epicenter of this huge problem that is actually all over the United States. Now, there's a lot of rumors that basically if you're homeless anywhere else in the United States, you're coming to Southern California because the government is going to hook you up as much as possible, probably more than any other state. Plus, the weather is not that bad. It does get cold in LA, but again, when they're giving you more amenities and more government programs, it definitely makes it a lot easier to come here. And you just have to basically battle the cold. But it is a very, very scary situation. And I'm going to go ahead and address some of the biggest issues. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the idea of paying super high property taxes on very expensive homes, and you basically walk out your door and there's homeless all over, littered in your sidewalk. Well, that really sucks, especially when the median house price in LA is super duper expensive, and especially some of these beach towns where the average house is over $1 million, and yet it is dangerous to just walk out at night, right? And there's just drugs and a lot of violence. So it's really scary stuff. But check this out. I wanted to start this video by going over to ChatGPT. Now, many of you guys know what ChatGPT is, basically AI. And if you guys haven't used it, I definitely encourage you guys to use it. Why? Because it makes searching so much easier. You could just ask it a question and the AI will search the internet for the best answers rather than you having to basically find articles and whatnot. You know what? This is progress. What technology, right? So why not use it, right? Basically. Okay. So I asked ChatGPT, what is the best solution to fix Los Angeles homeless problem? And basically, it gave me 5 things. Number one, it's increase affordable housing. Now, I did actually a video a while back talking about that, how there's evidence that show that it's not just about mental health, but it's really about the cost of living. Now, you got to see situations where if you grew up in LA, like if your parents are in their 70s, you grew up here, and if you didn't have a good job, imagine it's really hard to stay here, right? It's really hard to buy a house in Los Angeles. And if you don't have, if you're making minimum wage jobs, if you sort of screwed around in your 20s, partying, surfing, having a good time, and now your parents may be divorced and you're basically stuck. Maybe your parents got divorced, sold the house, and they moved out of the state, or whatever situation is for these people. It's all basically, I believe, the fact that it is very expensive to live anywhere around here, right? In this area. And it causes people to, if they slip, if they have some bad times, if they start hanging out with the wrong people, if they start getting into drugs, you could suddenly see where now they can't make that rent and they're out in the street. And being that California helps a lot of people, there you go. That population keeps increasing over time. And now check this out. Number two is provide supportive services. Obviously, this helps out. Give people, if they have mental problems, give them, mental health checks. Again, all these things cost money. We have substance abuse treatment and things like that, and job training to help people get back in their feet. I definitely agree with this number two. I actually agree with number one and number two. It's like you got to give people more opportunities to have affordable housing. The problem is that we're capitalist, right? If someone wants to pay $10 million for that property, they're going to pay for it. If the government starts coming out and saying, hey, you can't charge those prices, you can't let these, homes get sold for that much, well, that's literally like communism, and that's awful too, right? So how do you protect the investor? How do you protect the homeowner from wanting to get the most for their property, but also protect the community that people are not going to be able to afford that? Just think about like teachers, not firefighters. Firefighters make a lot of money, but just think about teachers, people that work in retail, people that work in restaurants. they can't afford to live in the neighborhoods in which they work. And that is a big problem, right? Because now you're asking people to commute 2-3 hours to go to work to make $15-20 an hour. And, half the money just goes to pay for gas. And that sucks too. Number three is basically address the root of homelessness. Homelessness is often a result of multiple factors, including job loss, eviction, domestic violence, and mental illness. I also think that with addressing the root cause of homelessness is really investing in families when kids are young, right? Before they become homeless. If there's a struggling parents, if there's a struggling single parent, the best would be to get these people some support, so then their kids don't turn out to be homeless, right? If you see your single parent struggling, and and basically that could be a very bad situation for the home. It's not giving those kids the proper nutrition to be healthy, the proper building blocks to have a good, fruitful life. You could see how they can then slip into poverty and then homelessness, right? So really getting to the root issue would be, for me, investing in, while people are young, while, if you have like a single mom who's a waitress and she's got maybe a kid, 2 kids or whatever, help her so those kids don't become homeless, right? When they get 16, 17 and whatnot, and they could turn into crime, they could turn into drugs. I mean, all hell could break loose. Number 4 is collaborate with the community. Obviously, we're all in it together. We all need to work together. And number 5, increase funding. Obviously, increased funding is a tough situation because the money has to come from somewhere, and the more money we throw at it, possibly we could have more and more homeless. I mean, if people are getting more and more money every month, there's going to be a group of people that are going to say, hey, why do I have to go work minimum wage where I could just get free stuff from the government? So you got to be careful. This is like a pulley system. You increase funding, and then that could basically create more homelessness because more people might not want to work. You decrease funding, and then then our neighborhoods become riddled with crime. So this is very fine tuning, and it's a problem though, because I've been to LA and it is crazy. So I wanted to just show you just real quick. I found some articles just talking about the problems right now, which is, for example, in Long Beach, they wanted to use a community park for a temporary homeless shelter. And the residents came out and said, no, we don't want that. Why? Because, imagine, a mom walking her kids, taking her kids to the park. She doesn't want, to be basically going by a homeless shelter on the way to the park. And it lowers the price of your house. Imagine if you live in a neighborhood and right next to your neighborhood, they're building a homeless park, and you're like literally right about to sell your home or something. Well, nobody's going to buy your house, right? Nobody's going to buy a house where, right next to a homeless shelter. So again, this is like, you're going to protect the homeowners, but you also have to protect the homeless community, right? It's a tough one, but basically this mayor just said, hey, I'm not going to go through with it. He stopped it, and now he's just gonna look for a better location for more homeless shelters, right? So this is the community came out and said, we don't want it, and the mayor listened, and they said, okay, let's try something else. Another article that I found here is, a lot of homeless people are actually living on the LA public system. So what does that mean, right? They basically get on a bus, right? They often get free bus tickets because, that makes sense, right? Like, let's get these homeless to be able to move. Maybe if they need to go work somewhere, give them that opportunity so they don't have to pay for the bus. Bus ticket in LA is not that cheap, right? So anyways, they get stuff for free. But the problem is that they're literally living on the bus. And that sucks. That sucks for people that basically are poor, also, or that don't have a car for whatever reason, that want to use the metro, and now they're sharing it with people that basically, like, not to be rude, but they could be really dirty, they could be very smelly, and that also sucks, for the bus driver, So that is not a solution, look at this. It says that there's 1,000 people who take shelter on metros, right? So what ends up happening is when the metro ends up finishing for the day, like around midnight or 1 a.m., well, guess what? These people get out at the last stop. And what do you think happens? Well, they end up walking around those neighborhoods. They end up staying there. And those people that live next to the metros, they don't want it there either. There's also another problem where developers are coming in and buying very expensive pieces of property on railway stations because they know that, to make it more attractive, so you could, sell your apartment saying, hey, you don't need a car if you buy this apartment because we're right next to the metro. Well, the problem is if there's, homeless littered in your neighborhood because you are next to a metro station, that sucks too. I live by a bus station, and yes, like, to be honest, there's a lot of homeless that come. I live by a bus depot, basically where all the buses, like a hub of buses that go to multiple locations. So I do have a fair amount of homeless in my neighborhood, and that sort of sucks, right? They're always at the Starbucks. I've had situations where I go into restaurants and they sort of follow me in, and then like they're asking me to buy them some food, and I'm sort of a nice guy, so I do, and then I'm getting yelled at by the store clerk, the owner of the restaurant, saying, "Hey, don't do that." Because now, like, you're making it like normal for them to do that, and then you're gonna ruin it for the experience for other customers. That situation ended up kind of ugly because now I have somebody telling me what to do with my money. But then the homeless person started fighting with the clerk, and I was like, you know what? Just give me my sandwich, and I just took off. So yeah, you're right. It is a problem, right? But it is also a problem that these homeless communities are living on the metro station. And it sucks. It really, really does suck. Because a lot of people want to use this. A lot of people want to use the train stations, but, they also don't want to ride with homeless who, I don't want to be rude, but, it ruins the experience, right? Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I'm sort of going to finish this, and I do have some good news. Okay, this is a photo of Venice Beach, right? This is how it looks. It's messed up. These homes right here, guys, are mega expensive, beyond expensive. And look at the homeless communities, right? Imagine you live here, you're paying an arm and a leg in property taxes, and you can't really even walk outside. There's been videos of these tents catching on fire for whatever reason, because remember, they're cooking. And there are public bathrooms in Venice Beach, but man, imagine you want to go to the beach with your family, right? You live a few blocks, or you drove a little bit farther from inland, and you get there, your daughter, your son, your toddler, you need to take them to the bathroom for whatever reason, or your wife, whoever, your girlfriend, you yourself, and you go to the bathroom and it's disgusting, right? It's littered. It sucks. It sucks. And there's no, how do you fix it, right? It's so hard to fix. And it's surging, more and more people are coming here. It gets a little bit dangerous. I've seen some videos of some bum fights right here in Venice Beach. And you know what? If you came here 10 years ago, there was always been a little bit of riffraff, but you never saw tent like this. This is all new. For the last 5-6 years, but it used to not be this bad. But, Venice always had a little bit of grime to it, which was a little bit of the character to it. But this isn't the grime that used to be. It was more like, tattooed people, just weird, eccentric people, right? Like you wouldn't see anywhere else. But this is just a different level. This sucks. Really, this sucks. Riding your bike around here, you could see needles, you could see drugs, and it's awful. But check this out. You look here, we jump into Zillow, and then you start looking at the properties that are for sale in this area. It just blows your mind. Look at this, $8 million. $8 million to live where people are basically right in front of your house are living in tents. Do you think that's fair? Think about the property taxes that some of these people are paying on $2.5 million, $8 million. It's a massive amount of money, right? Massive, right? Like taxes alone. But yet the problem is, look, if you could afford it, you could afford it. That's great. But what sucks is how dirty it is right in front of your house. So it is a problem. And this is happening all over, LA. If you even go inland, you go to, for example, Lincoln Boulevard, which is the PCH basically. There's the homeless all littered everywhere. I was driving not too long ago on this street on Culver Boulevard. Wait, was it? Yeah, Culver Boulevard. And there was RVs parked all along the side here. They were almost like these crazy old RVs. They looked like almost like they were donated. And I realized it was homeless people living in RVs. So the problem is a big, big deal. But like I said, what bothers me the most is how someone could, pay. Look, I want to show you this house. I found it right here. Look, $2.5 million, right? 1,300 square foot for $2.5 million. And you could literally see the homeless from these photos. Not this one. Let me get the right one. It was, where was it? I found one. I think it's this one. This is the one. Hold on. Okay, perfect. Look at this. They're asking $2.2 million for 1,700 square foot. And literally, the homeless live all around here, and it's like literally it's on the Zillow page, right? That's kind of crazy. And it's just not right. It's just not right, and it doesn't look like it could be fixed. Now, I wanted to end this video on a nice note, by the way, and here it is. Basically, as many of you guys saw, if you guys are watching the news, and if you are a Foo Fighters fan, so Dave Grohl, stepping it up, went ahead and went to a homeless shelter. No, it's not a homeless shelter, but he did help feed 450 people in Los Angeles, which is really, really nice. He brought his smoker. That's a massive smoker, which is awesome. Now, I do think it's great for Dave Grohl to do this. I mean, the meat looks amazing in general, but we need a better solution at some point. Now, I want you guys to go ahead and comment below and let me know, what are your thoughts about homelessness in Los Angeles and across the United States as a whole? Please comment down below. I really want to hear your thoughts. And let's see if we could come up with some great ideas. And I would like to make more videos about this. And hopefully I'm going to, keep an eye on it and see what is working, what is not working. And I'll bring that news to you. But this is a really, really big deal. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video.